right, welcome back to Making an Interactive Notebook with Mrs. Luck. You should have your interactive notebook, and if you will turn to your table of contents, we're going to write down the next pages. So page 12 and page 13 are going to be adding and subtracting mixed numbers. And this is with like denominators also. And you can rewrite that, or you can write your ditto, or you can write continued, but it's 2 pages for 13 and 14. Go ahead and pause your video so that you can finish that if you've not finished writing it. And once you are done finished with that, if you'll turn to page 13. All right, make sure you have a 13 up in the top hand corner, and take this page and cut it out and glue it to page 13. And then take this page and cut it out and glue it to page 14. All right, pause your video and go ahead and do that. All right, you should have page 13 glued down with this piece of paper, and page 14 should have these problems. Okay. So we are now going to be adding mixed numbers, and a mixed number means that we have a whole number and we have a fraction. So the numbers are mixed because we have both. All right. So when we add mixed numbers with like denominators, we take the wholes and we color in the whole hole. So we have 2 holes. So I'm going to color in this whole box because that makes 1 hole, and I'm going to color in this whole box because that makes 1 hole. So 1, 2. All right. And then we have 5/8. So this hole is divided into 8s. And we are going to shade in 5 of them because the numerator tells us how many we should shade. So we have 4 and 1 is 5. All right. 6, 7, 8, there's 3 left over. So this takes care of this number. Now we're going to shade 1 and 2/8 because we are adding. So I'm going to color in 1 hole. And then 2/8. It doesn't matter if you're switching colors. All right. Now we have to figure out how many total holes there are and how many parts are shaded. So if I count 1, 2, 3, I can see that there are 3 holes. So I'm going to write 3 holes down here. And what's left are the parts. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 parts. So I take the parts from here and the parts from here and I add them together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. So we have 7 parts. And that's going to end up being a mixed number. We have 3 holes and 7 parts. So that's going to be 3 and 7. And our denominator is how many parts it was broken up to begin with. And we had a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's each of these squares is made up of 8 equal parts. So we have 7/8 that are shaded yellow. All right. So up here our answer would be 3 and 7/8. So we're adding the whole numbers and we're adding the fractions just like we did in our last lesson, and we're putting them together to make the whole. All right. Once again, remembering the denominators stay the same. Now, subtraction's a little bit different. With subtraction, we color in the whole of the first number. And then the parts, which are 5. And so we have 2 wholes and 5/8. So we've taken care of this whole number. All right, 2 and 5. 2 and 5/6. I'm sorry, 6. We're in 6 this time. The 8 was over here. So 5/6. And we're going to subtract 1 whole and 1/6. So just like we did in the previous lesson, we crossed out. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to cross out 1. And we're going to then cross out 1 of the 6. And what's left, what's not crossed out, is our answer. So we have 1 whole left over. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4 sixths left over. So 4 parts. So we have 1 and 4 sixths. This number, when you get to 6th grade, would need to be reduced. So if I take a look at this, 5 minus 1 is 4. The denominators stay the same. 2 minus 1 is 1. So we have 1 and 4 sixths. This gets a little more complicated when we have mixed numbers with unlike denominators. Currently, we can just subtract across the top and continue with the same denominator. When we have mixed denominators, we will have to find a common denominator. But we will not do that quite yet. Next week, we'll start working with that. All right, go ahead and turn your page. And I would like for you to do number 1 here, 2 and 1/4 plus 2 and 2/4. Go ahead and pause your video and then come back to see what the answer is. All right, welcome back. You can see I went ahead and colored in what should be colored. So we have 2 and 1/4. So these shapes represent that. 2 have been colored in, and 1 out of 4 is colored in here, shaded. And then 2 and 2/4, we have 2 holes and 2 parts out of 4 shaded. So now we're going to add those together. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 holes. And we have 1, 2, 3 parts. And all of our parts are divided into fourths. So we have 4 and 3/4. And that is your answer. All right. Come down and work the subtraction problem. So go ahead and subtract 5 and 3/4 minus 3 and 2/4. Go ahead and pause your video and then come back to check your answer. All right, welcome back. We're going to check your answer. If you've not done the work, pause the video again and do the work. It doesn't do any good if you don't try it yourself to see what you understand and what you don't understand. So if you've not done this yet, go ahead and pause again and do the work, please. You're only hurting yourself. So in order to solve this problem, I colored in 5 holes. All right, so subtraction was a little different. I color in the whole of each of the very first number that we're dealing with. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this 5. And then we have 3/4. So I did 1, 2, 3 of this last hole. So we have 3/4. And then we're going to subtract 3 and 2/4. So I'm going to subtract 3. So I'm just going to take away 1, 2, 3 by crossing them out. And then I'm going to take away 2 fourths. So down here I'm going to take away 1, 2. And then what's left is my answer. So I have 1, 2 wholes. And then I have 1 fourth left. All right. All right. Now what I would like for you to do is problem 4 1/3 plus 3 1/3 and 4 5/6 minus 3 4/6. Go ahead and solve those on your own right now and then come back to double check your work. Pause your video at this point. All right, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and do the addition problem first. So I'm going to take 4 wholes. So I'm going to color in 4. And 1/3. There's 1 shaded out of 3. And then we're going to add 3 1/3. So I'm going to shade in 3 holes. And 1/3. And then I'm going to add them all together. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes. And we have 1, 2 parts out of 3. So 4 1/3 plus 3 1/3 is 7 2/3. And we could add 4 plus 3 is 7, and 1 plus 1 is 2, and our denominator stays the same. All right, very, very simple. It gets a little more complicated when we have mixed, unlike denominators. Now, for your subtraction problem. So we're going to color in all of this one first, and then we're going to subtract this one. So I'm going to color in 4 holes. And then I'm going to also color in 5/6. Okay, so this represents this number, 4 5/6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6. All right. Now we're going to subtract 3 4/6. So I'm going to take away 3 holes. And then I'm going to take away 4/6. And I'm going to come down to the one that's partially completed and take away those 4/6 so I don't have to add up things. So we're going to take away 1, 2, 3, 4, which means I'm left with 1. So I have 1 hole that's left, and I have 1/6 that's left, because this is 1 out of 6 little parts. So 4 5/6 minus 3 4/6 is 1 1/6. All right. It's good to know the visuals with the numbers, because the more different ways that you see it, the more different ways that your brain has connections, and it ends up being easier to do the more complicated work. All right. You should now be done with your interactive notebook for today, and you should continue on in the folder. You have an assignment that you should complete on Schoology. Thanks. Bye-bye.